Okay, can you guys hear me now? Hello? Give me a plus plus if you can hear me now in chat. Okay, there we go. Well, it was one of two things. So, sorry, took a second for that to get fixed, but all right. In any case, let's go ahead and jump right into everything. Perfect. So today is day 738 of Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine. And we have a couple things to cover. First and foremost, welcome everybody. You might notice a few things different on the screen right now. It was mentioned in a community post earlier. You'll notice that the little buy me a coffee symbol in the lower left is blue now rather than yellow for today. And the little ticker has an explanation here that you guys should be able to see. So the yellow one is for supporting troops. And currently that goes to Anton, friend of the channel. So he can then transfer the money over to Monobank, and that goes directly to where it needs to for 110 drones for the 110th Mechanized Brigade. Right now, it's about 80-90% cleared up, but there was some technical issue with Buy Me a Coffee. So, yeah, that's being fixed. As soon as we have an update on that being cleared up, that'll be open again. For right now, the yellow Buy Me a Coffee, just if you want to donate to 110th Mechanized Brigade, please do so using PayPal or Monobank. And once we get the yellow Buy Me a Coffee fixed, then we'll get that up and running for you guys again. Because I know not everyone is able to use PayPal or Monobank, which was part of the reason why I wanted to set up the Buy Me a Coffee as an alternative for those viewers. The blue one that you see, that one is specifically for support to the channel. So that one is to support me, support Tridents Against Tyrants, and then the other options are all going to go directly to our fundraisers. So with that being clear, let's see. We're currently at let me make this bigger. 21,371.45 hryvnia out of 1,936,000 left for the remaining 110 FPV drones. We have sent a total of 15 so far. Actually, let me double check the Monobank jar. Let's see. Oh, and I heard a ping. Oh, but I don't have it on top right this second. So, oh, well, actually, that's weird. I heard it, but I don't see it. Well, if someone did donate with Buy Me a Coffee, thank you very much. And it is very much appreciated. In fact, let's test this one more time real fast. Just so everybody knows what it looks like and sounds like. The yellow is not, yeah, for right now until it gets fixed. Try not to donate to Anton's Buy Me a Coffee. Once we have that cleared up, we'll let you guys know. But for the blue one, this is what it should look and sound like. This will just be a test to show you guys. All right. So, yeah. And then once it's fixed, we'll also have the yellow for donating directly to troops set up again as well. All right. Now then, moving on. We've got a couple pieces of news. We're also going to catch up on the situation at the front lines a little bit with Juzzy, his most recent update. And first thing we're going to go ahead and look at is... Oh, and we may have a guest on today, possibly. Oh, hold on a sec. Have that up in one sec. We may have a guest on today for a little bit toward the end. No promises. And also, I need to make sure that my new setup for guests is working as expected. But yeah, possibly. We'll see. All right, now then. First piece of news actually isn't wanting to work with my simplified screen reader mode. So I'm just going to read it and put it in the comments section in the chat for you guys. So one sec. This is from Politico. And I'll put it in the description too. Oh, and also, before we get started with the article, let me just say thank you for coming to everyone who is currently here. I see Marino, Anna, KKGG, and Hill. See a couple messages to me. Yeah, a few messages that were directed at me when I was getting the sound figured out. All right. Oh, I have a question here. From Marino4691. Hi, Sekai. Could you explain the symbolism behind the owl? Yeah, definitely. I'll do that real fast. So the symbolism behind the owl that you see on the screen is that the owl is the official symbol of Hurmo, which is the main directorate of intelligence for Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. And yeah, they're actually, it's in Latin. Hold on. Their saying that goes with it is... Sapiens dominabitur astris, meaning the wise will rule the stars. And the owl is their symbol. As a matter of fact, let's just pull up an image of what that owl looks like. I'll show you guys real fast. Might actually work to even put it over here for one sec. Yeah, that'll work. Let me... it's going to be a little blurry, but that's what it looks like. So that is the emblem, the sigil of the Ukrainian intelligence agency known as Hurmo. And as you can see, it is an owl with a golden sword directed right at the heart of Orkland. So, yeah, very intelligent people who work over there. I have no affiliation with any of them. I want to make that very clear. None whatsoever. I just respect the work they do, and I like owls in general. So, yeah. Another fun fact is that the owls as animals are natural predators of bats, and the bat is actually the intelligence agency symbol of GRU, of one of the military intelligence agencies of the Russian Federation. Hey, you know what? We've got 1 sec, so I'll pull that up to show you guys too. Oh, that didn't open as I wanted it to. There we go. So that, well, the size isn't exactly the same, but you guys can see. That is the symbol of Spetsnaz Gru. It's a bat. And this is the symbol of Hurmo. So and I believe their owl was adopted after the bat for Spetsnaz Gru. So it's a little tongue-in-cheek, and I greatly appreciate the fact that they instill that sense of, those who are doing espionage for Russia, you will be found, you will be hunted, you will be brought to justice, just as an owl hunts a bat. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Thanks for a great question. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that, Mark. It's pretty cool. It's something that I find. You'll find this to be true of most countries, pretty much every country. Certain aspects of both military and intelligence gathering history, symbolism, it can go pretty deep. It can get very layered, and it's just fascinating to study. All right, now then, let's move on. All right, so I'm just going to leave it off for this first article, and you guys can read along if you want, because I put it in the chat. But from it's a short one, and then I'll put the others up on the screen. From Politico, Macron stands by remarks about sending troops to Ukraine. French president, French president has faced a barrage of criticism, but said his comments were weighed, thought through, and measured. Oh, let me check one thing before we keep going. All right. From Paris, French President Emmanuel Macron on Thursday said his refusal to rule out the prospect of sending Western troops to Ukraine was intentional, despite the uproar it has provoked. Macron swept aside the barrage of criticism he has faced in France and on the international stage, and insisted his statements on Russian President Vladimir Putin's aggression against Ukraine were carefully thought out. Quote, "These are sufficiently serious issues. Every one of the words that I say on this issue is weighed, thought through, and measured," Macron told reporters on the sidelines of a visit to the 2024 Olympic Village near Paris. But he refused to answer any further questions on the topic. There it is. Yeah. On Monday, Macron said after a leaders' conference on support for Kiev, that there was no consensus on sending ground troops to Ukraine in an official manner, but that, quote, "nothing was excluded." The prospect of sending Western troops to Ukraine was rejected by other NATO members, unfortunately, including the US, UK, and Germany, and sharply criticized by French opposition parties, but not dismissed by Estonia and Lithuania. French officials also downplayed Macron's comments, pointing to activities such as demining and arms production, which might involve a Western presence in Ukraine. The Speaker of Russia's lower house of parliament even warned Macron against sending troops to Ukraine, saying that they would meet the same fate as Napoleon's army. Yeah, sure. Okay. So I respect Macron for saying this, and I believe that there are reasons why he's doing so at this time. If I'm not mistaken, well, aside from, I believe that he actually does want Ukraine to be able to win this war. Let's see. The next French elections will be next election? Sunday, June 9th, 2024 will be the 2024 European Parliament elections in France. Now, does that coincide with the national elections of France? Hold on, let me look at this real fast. No. So the next presidential election for France is still a few years away, not till 2027. But there is going to be an election in France regarding the European Parliament. So it does coincide with something that's coming up very, very soon. I'm sure that domestic French political parties also have a certain have a stake in all of that. So messaging is not just at the national level; it is also for European Parliament representatives, of course. I think that Macron is wanting Ukraine to win. He realizes that this is incredibly important, something that cannot wait. And also, the man needs to bank on something that will gain him some support from voters in France leading into his election in a few years. Because right now, it is looking more and more like if France is not careful, a far-right wave of support may end up taking someone like Le Pen, for anyone who's familiar, into the presidency there in the next few years. And that would not be good for Ukraine or for Europe as a continent, I don't believe. So, yeah, well, good on Macron for standing in support with Ukraine. Now then, moving on to the next article, which I'm putting in the chat right now. This is from mil.in.ua is the domain. So this is a Ukrainian news source, military news source. And this is militarny, everyone. Oh. And I heard another one. Let me see. Miriam, thank you for getting 5 coffees. Much appreciated. Just a note, everybody, please keep in mind that, as I said before, shoot, I don't know if I have a way to temporarily, because we do appreciate getting the coffees. But I, as I mentioned before, since Anton is still clearing stuff up with the yellow Buy Me a Coffee, that I want people to give to in the future once it's open again, try to use PayPal just for today, for right now. And Monobank. We are going to keep using Buy Me a Coffee for donations to soldiers. But yeah, just right now, I don't want there to end up being like $500 worth of donations or something to Buy Me a Coffee, and while we're still, we're still talking with them to make sure that like it all gets out of the account. It should be just fine. I mean, it's it's getting cleared up, and there's no indication that there should be any continued issues, but I just want you all to be aware of that. And as soon as we have it 100% fixed, we're going to test it. I'll probably send, I don't know, $100 or something myself to him, make sure he's able to pull it, and then let all of you know Buy Me a Coffee is A-okay to use again. All right. Now then. Netherlands, Estonia. Oh, yes. So this article, Netherlands, Estonia, and Lithuania consider sending military support to Ukraine. So after the announcement from President Macron of France, several other countries have also come out with similar statements, mulling over whether or not they will consider sending additional military support and even potentially some troops to assist in certain capacities. Likely not combat roles, but I mean, there have already been trainers from various different places around the world assisting Ukrainians inside Ukraine. But this might be more beyond just training, a bit more of a logistics and coordination with Ukrainian armed forces, maybe medical support, this kind of thing. So let's see. Thank you for the compliment. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, well, yeah, thank you for the compliment, Salty Red. I see it there in the chat. For anyone who's curious, we are using some, just to put things up and make things a little easier on mods. We have some bots now, which in the future will be expanded to include more messages. But if you see Nightbot in the chat, about every 10 minutes it should be putting something up. I only put 2 in. Every 10 minutes it should put up the PayPal information for donating to the 110th Mechanized Brigade via PayPal. And every 25 minutes or so it'll put up a link for the blue Buy Me a Coffee, the channel Buy Me a Coffee. And in the future, it'll also include the yellow 110th Brigade Buy Me a Coffee and links to the Discord and all of that others, everything else. I just got pressed for time, so I didn't have time to put all of those in for this stream. But yeah, we will. Yeah, I hope that'll help out mods. So yeah, you guys can, just kind of do other stuff, focus on interacting with the chat and whatnot during streams. All right, let's see here. Oh no, you're good. You're good, Miriam. No problem at all. And yeah, I know, because that's what I put up last time. That's what everyone probably has bookmarked and saved. And also just the fact that there are 2 Buy Me a Coffees. But yeah, I asked Anton to set up a Buy Me a Coffee because I want troops to be the primary focus. I also have a personal one set up, but that's why I have the color differentiation, one being yellow and one being blue. That way it's a little easier for people to know which one is which. All right, let's see here. All right, from Militarny, February 29th, 2024, leap day, which was this year. This year is a leap year. High-ranking officials in the Netherlands, Estonia, and Lithuania do not exclude the possibility of sending their military to Ukraine. Several Western media reported on this, citing high-ranking officials. Officials of the countries stressed that such assumptions are linked with support personnel who will provide training, help set up processes, and do other work without being involved in hostilities. Estonian Prime Minister Kaja Kallas said that all options are on the table to help Ukraine defeat Russia. Here we've got an image of an Estonian soldier conversing with a Ukrainian soldier. Estonian and Ukrainian soldiers at an exercise, March 2023, source from EDF. I think that these are also signals that we are sending to Russia that we are not ruling out different options, because all the countries have realized that we have to do everything to make sure that Ukraine wins and Russia loses this war, Kallas said on the Politico podcast. Kęstutis Budrys, chief national security advisor to the president of Lithuania, stated that his country is considering sending its instructors to Ukraine, but the priority is to support them with weapons and ammunition, which is very admirable and very, very important. These may be small countries. They may not. These are small countries, and they're giving quite a bit of what they are able to, because they understand that even though in the total volume, total amount of ammunition and weaponry that is sent. What they're sending alone cannot turn the tide of the war. It sends a strong message to the larger countries who should be giving more from Western Europe, North America, and several other parts of the world. But of course, those two continents have kind of been the biggest sources of support and biggest focus of getting military aid to Ukraine. If it doesn't even necessarily have to be the United States alone. If just a few more of these countries gave a bit more of a percentage of their GDP, a percentage of their military budget to Ukraine, especially those who know that they are not at immediate risk of invasion from Russia, then it could really help a lot. And this needs to be amounts in like, not the hundreds of millions, but billions. At least single digit, if not double digit billions. If we see this a bit more frequently, then that could really help until American aid is finally able to get to Ukraine again. Oh, thanks for coming, Holy Oblation. Glad that you're able to join us. Yeah, hope to see you again soon. All right, now then. We are talking about that possibility, and we are doing this quite openly. There are a lot of nuances about what could happen and under what conditions, he said. Lithuanian Defense Minister Arvydas Anusauskas also spoke about the possibility of sending NATO troops to Ukraine to conduct exercises. His counterpart, Dutch Defense Minister Onno Eichelscheim, also expressed his opinion on sending his troops to Ukraine. Here's a photo of Dutch soldiers. The photo is, it just says from open sources, so I guess it's an open source photo. I think you have to keep all options open to see how you can best support Ukraine, Eichelscheim said, adding that there are other ways to help Ukraine. According to the Dutch Minister of Defense, if Western troops go to Ukraine, it should be within the framework of a coalition. As previously reported, French President Emmanuel Macron was the first to speak about the possibility of sending his military to Ukraine. He noted that there are currently no specific plans to deploy troops, but emphasized that such a possibility should be part of a policy of strategic ambiguity to show Russia that Western countries are ready to take decisive action. Yeah, strategic ambiguity. I understand why strategic ambiguity exists as a concept, but at this time, with everything that's currently happening in this war, I think we need less strategic ambiguity and we need more concrete evidence of exactly how far Western nations are going to go to assist Ukraine. I do appreciate him saying this because even, the public admission of this being open as a possibility is a step in the right direction, but it's not enough. We got to see more. We got to see more material support. We got to see someone actually, at the very least, saying that they'd be willing to send more instructors and more troops to assist with logistics away from the front lines. And that slowly moves it in the direction where you have a foothold and the possibility of further assistance occurring when it is acceptable to do so. Everyone is very concerned about further escalation and spreading of the conflict to other countries outside of Ukraine. But I think that letting that concern rule decision making too much is definitely it's a gravely dangerous thing for Western leaders to be doing. That's my opinion, at least. All right, now then, next article. And we'll go, oh wait, did I put this one? Oh, I don't think I put this one in the description, so let me do that, and then we'll go on to the next article. All right, so this is from BBC, and we're going to discuss a little bit about what's happening right now in Ukraine itself. So let me put this in chat. And in the description. All right, so Ukraine-Russia war. Zelensky appeals to West as deadly drone hits Odessa. Oh, and before I keep going, I'll also go ahead and open up Q&A. All right, so that is now open. All right. And here we have an image of a strike that occurred in Ukraine here recently in Odessa. I believe it says here the source for this image appears to be from Reuters. The strike in Odessa destroyed 18 flats, President Zelensky said. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had called on the West to deliver more air defense systems after at least 5 people died in a strike on Odessa. A 3-year-old was among those killed by a Russian drone in the southern city, officials said. 2 other people died in strikes elsewhere in Ukraine. Russia continues to wage war on civilians, President Zelensky said. Ukraine is on the defensive after Russian forces took control of the eastern town of Avdiivka last month. The commander-in-chief of the armed forces has signaled he will replace some military leaders on the eastern front. In a post on Telegram on Saturday, Interior Minister Ihor Klimenko said a 9-story building had been destroyed as a result of an attack by Russian terrorists in Odessa. Footage from the scene showed that several floors of a residential building had been destroyed. Source of this image appears to be from EPA. Several residents of the damaged block of flats are still missing. At least 5 people, including the 3-year-old child, were killed, 8 were wounded, and several are still unaccounted for, officials said. I do recall seeing this the other day. I believe Starsky made a post about this. And yeah, guys, we need to get air support. Air defense systems are not optional. Ukraine needs them. The people there need them. It is very important. I know there are other wars and conflicts happening around the world right now. Distractions, basically, that are taking focus away from Ukraine. But yeah, we need to stand by Ukraine. So I hope that we see more get to the front lines and get to the various cities. Another thing that's very important to note about all this, aside from the human cost, is the focus on Odessa and the recent announcement from neighboring Moldova's Transnistria region with their breakaway government about requesting, quote unquote, support or for annexation from the Russian Federation, protection. If Ukraine does not get sufficient aid, if Ukraine doesn't get enough help from allies to at least hold the south, hold Odessa, prevent the Russians from driving over to the Moldovan border, then everything that happens after that, and I guarantee you many things would happen after that, would be the fault of the West. Because at that point, the lack of action would have actually allowed this to spread. Fear of it spreading isn't an excuse. At that point, lack of support to Ukraine would have caused more war. And so I hope we never see this happen. All right. Separately, they said that one person had been killed in the Kharkiv region near the Russian border and another in the southern Kherson region. In a post on social media, Mr. Zelensky said, "We need more air defenses from our partners. We need to strengthen the Ukrainian air shield to add more protection for our people from Russian terror. More air defense systems and more missiles for air defense systems saves lives." Ukraine's Air Force said it had downed 14 or 17 drones launched by Russia overnight. I caught a typo, BBC. I see your typo. Russian forces have... another typo. Russian forces have launched thousands of Iranian-made drones at Ukrainian targets since they invaded Ukraine over 2 years ago. In retaliation, Ukraine has targeted Russian sites, notably oil facilities. Image from Getty Images. Emergency services specialists work by a damaged apartment block after an alleged drone attack reported by local media in St. Petersburg. Oh, hold on. Is this still... Oh yeah, this is still in the same article. All right. Yeah, so retaliatory strikes. On Saturday, a drone struck a residential building in St. Petersburg, Russia's second largest city. About 100 people were evacuated, and there are no reports of casualties, officials say. Some Russian media said the incident could have been caused by a downed Ukrainian drone, which was heading towards a fuel depot. There's been no official confirmation of this from the Kremlin. The full-scale invasion of Ukraine launched by Russian President Vladimir Putin is now in its third year. Early on Saturday, the commander-in-chief of Ukrainian forces, General Oleksandr Syrsky, signaled that he would replace some commanders on the Eastern Front. The move Well, this is kind of reiterating a few things, but it also has new information. The move comes after the fall of Avdiivka, which marked the biggest change on the front line, BBC, since Russian troops seized the nearby town of Bakhmut in May of 2023. Avdiivka was engulfed in fierce fighting for months. This week, Ukraine's military withdrew from 2 nearby villages, losing more territory as the supply of weapons and ammunition from its Western allies ran short. Oleksandr Syrsky, commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine, has spent 3 days on the Eastern Front. General Syrsky said he would change those commanders whose orders and actions had threatened the lives of troops. He wrote on Telegram, "I have sent groups of specialists to individual brigades where there are problems with the preparation of the headquarters to transfer experience and provide assistance." General Syrsky praised some brigades and promised, after listening to frontline units, to provide reserves, ammunition, and expertise to back them up. He insisted the situation on the front line remains difficult but controlled. President Zelensky had sacked General Syrsky's predecessor Valery Zaluzhny less than a month ago, which is still something that people have strong opinions about in and outside of Ukraine. All right, so a lot of information there, but yeah, I would say the biggest thing that this article, for me at least, really underscores is the fact that we're not doing enough. And as an individual, it's frustrating. As groups of non-governmental entities, just citizens, concerned citizens, people, NGOs, different organizations of various classifications who are in support of Ukraine, it's horribly frustrating, as an understatement. And yeah, anyone who's listening, I just really, really want to encourage you, not just phone calls, not just emails, but get in touch with these organizations, get involved, speak in person to your local officials, especially if they're affiliated with any of the Republicans or Democrats who now have an issue with aid being passed in the U.S. if you're an American citizen, because there are some Democrats who quietly are not the happiest because, you know, all of the aid for Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan are all put together in the bill. But of course, as we've all seen and continue to see, a lot of it is MAGA and evangelical Republican circles. Get in touch with these people. Any Democrats who are concerned about the mixing of Ukrainian and Israel military aid, talk to them. Show them why it's so important for Ukraine aid to pass. Have a thoughtful discussion with them about both conflicts, because there are many who are more focused on Israel from that particular camp. For anyone who speaks to a Republican, if they happen to be religious, and you know they are, maybe underscore the fact that Ukrainian Christians are suffering and the US and other allies are failing to help save their lives, which is not a very Christian thing to do. There's a couple different approaches, but talk to your officials in person, people. Got to break down that barrier. Got to show them why this is important. All right. Now then. Let's see here. All right. So next we're going to go ahead and let's see. We're about 40 minutes into the stream. We're going to go ahead and take a listen to an update from Juzzy here in a bit. So yeah, let me go ahead and get that set up. All right, here we go. And let me also turn these off to be respectful of Juzzy's content.
Day 736 of the Ukrainian war map, also known as the Russo-Ukrainian War. Juzzy here, and today is another update as I take a simplified and down-to-earth approach to some of the most important happenings on the ground in Ukraine. So starting off, we'll take a look at the Russian losses, as currently Russia sits on more than 414,000 military personnel losses, which represents an additional 920 in the past day. Then as for hardware losses, 17 tanks, 30 APVs, and a relatively whopping 36 artillery. And of course, we see 3 military jets added to the list, but this update pertains to yesterday's mention on the incident, or indeed incidents. Then we'll head across to the map today and momentarily start out in St. Petersburg of Russia, as a fire started on the Ermak, a Russian icebreaker docked in St. Petersburg port. As such, it is now out of service and already slated for disposal. Now, there is no reference to a military incident causing this event, and indeed may be a completely unrelated event. But at the same time, it does almost feel like Russian ships in faraway ports are just spontaneously combusting as well now. Then we'll head across back into the Ukrainian map today and we'll head to the Donbass in the eastern sector, which certainly continues to be quite an active area. For instance, starting out with a bit of push and pull that we saw. So we'll move across to the Bakhmut axis there, where some marginal gains were made by the armed forces of Ukraine in northwest of Klishchivka, which is just south of Bakhmut. Then also, around the same time, Russian forces have pulled up to their first street of Ivaniska, and I'll show you that there, so there you go, which of course is just west of Bakhmut. Now, Ivaniska has been somewhat a heavily fortified position by the armed forces of Ukraine for some time now. So it does remain to be seen how effective the Russian forces are at pushing forward from this direction. Most likely, what they'll end up doing is coming from the north and the south, at least in terms of attempts. Then heading a little bit further south as Ukrainian defense forces in the Avdiivka sector continue to conduct defensive operations and in some locations regaining lost ground. Now, firstly, I'll state the Russian army is increasing the intensity of artillery shelling and is said to have been increasing the number of assault groups up to a battalion tactical group. In addition, they're throwing new reserves into the battle in the hopes of local successes. However, more specifically, the Ukrainian army denied Russian control over Berdichi, and in fact slightly pushed back Russian lines of control here. Then also, the situation is similar just south of here, where Russian forces briefly gained a foothold on the outskirts of Orlivka before Ukrainian forces ousted them from the settlement. Although I would say it is still likely Ukraine won't be able to hold the position for much longer. And then, since we're in the region, a kind of a Bermuda Triangle location for the Russian Su-34s and other various military aircraft in recent times, as it seems Ukraine has a weapon that can reach Russian planes at long distances, with 13 planes downed in the last 2 weeks. And near as we can tell, none of them Russian friendly fire incidents, which has certainly been known to happen, but most information for these incidents suggests that we're looking at the likelihood of these occurrences being due to the most recently received, the Ukrainian received third Patriot air defense system from in just December last year. And so it would appear that the first two received had inherently decided to take a much more defensive posture, sticking to places like Kyiv and Odessa. However, the third one, most recent one, would appear to be roaming around the south central regions of the Donetsk Oblast, just unobstructed and uninhibited, making use of those long range anti air missiles at its disposal. Because even just moments ago, well, here we go again. This time, an Su-35 allegedly disappeared from the radar in the vicinity of Mariupol, as noted in the Russian Telegram space. But we will have to wait for more information on that one. So, why now? Why not have this recent string of Russian jet losses happen way back in December when Ukraine got its hands on its third Patriot battery? Well, I would certainly propose that this third Patriot air defense system was set up far behind the contact point in December and most of January to perform actual incoming missile defenses against Russian incoming missile salvos as part of their winter wave attacks against Ukrainian infrastructure. But as the weather has warmed up and the risk of these events significantly decreased, this third Patriot system then became freed up to go on the hunt. Gee, imagine what they could do with a fourth. Then looking around on the map in the east, cleanup operations continue. For instance, behind Russian lines in Avdiivka, a Ukrainian drone drop munition landed into an abandoned Russian T-80 BV tank, causing a pretty catastrophic ammunition cook-off. Then also, this time it was a Ukrainian FPV drone successfully hunting down and disabling the latest and greatest Russian T-90M MBT main battle tank. Then, in somewhat of a similar fashion to the first mention, a Ukrainian drone dropped its load, hitting a fuel tank in or by a Russian trench. So those FPVs are coming out in full force, and I'll mention something about that shortly in the news section. But for a moment, we'll head across to the Kherson sector and specifically in Krinky, as Ukrainian forces managed to expand the bridgehead inside Krinky to their west. And both Ukrainian and Russian sources confirm that Ukrainian troops have advanced west inside of Krinky towards Kazachi Lahiri. And are claims which once again fly in the face of Russian Defense Minister Shoigu's recent claims of Krinky being under full Russian control.
This marks the potential start of a third world war.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me now? Okay. That should have fixed it. I don't know why my software just did that randomly, and it is very annoying. I'm going to have to look into that later. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. But anyway, ran into an advertisement because of the way that I have this set up in my software to be able to run this. One sec. Gonna have to move past it.
War, and we will soon be hit with a silent, untraceable attack on America.
Then just
Yeah, okay, there we go. And it is so weird because yeah, so very weird because it's working just fine all the way through the stream. There's no other issue. And then just randomly it stops. And all I have to do to fix it is flip to another audio source and flip back. So there's some kind of competing firmware or back-end priority for my software trying to pick up on specific audio sources. And I don't know. Weird glitch. But, all right. Should be fixed now. Let's continue watching a little bit more.
Just briefly as well, we'll move across to the Crimean Peninsula as Russian air defense continued to be quite active, this time near Simferopol, which Russian air defense is undoubtedly being kept busy or under threat. Then we'll head across to some news for today, some interesting news, as we have seen some new updated stats on Ukrainian drone production and their values produced for 2024, with Ukraine producing a whopping 200,000 FPV drones over the first 2 months of this year alone. Bearing in mind, I repeat, this is FPV drones alone. This does not include their other variants produced, including the Baba Yaga heavy drones and the medium and long-range drones that travel all the way up to St. Petersburg. So impressive. They promised big numbers like these, and now they deliver. Then at the same time, we saw plenty of Russian military crew.
Yeah, to comment on that, it has been very inspiring to see the ramping up of military production inside of Ukraine itself, especially for things that the country can afford to make and really experiment and innovate with, such as drones of all types.
Complaining about not having this type of capacity. Then headed across to some Russian economy news. Some of my favorite segments that take a peek into the devastating impact of the Russian economy. So for this segment, in Russia, people are struggling with Union Pay, a Chinese payment platform that became essential after Visa and MasterCard stopped their services in the country because of the Ukraine war. Now, Union Pay cards, particularly those used by Huawei Pay, are reportedly failing in Russia. Now, this problem is linked to the US sanctions aimed at Russian payments, affecting transactions through Russia's national payment card system. And even though Russia and China have a strong alliance, apparently, and had declared a quote no limits partnership, and this was just before the commencement of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, which all turns this issue into marking a significant challenge for Russia. Because Russia turned to Union Pay for global transactions after losing access to Western payment services and the SWIFT banking system due to becoming the world's most sanctioned nation following its invasion of Ukraine. And while some of these physical Union Pay cards are still operational, the digital services via Huawei Pay faces disruptions, showing the impact of sanctions on Russia's financial activities and its international financial ties. Moreover, big Chinese banks have stopped taking payments from Russian entities under sanctions, fearing US repercussions. So this situation highlights how interconnected the global financial system is and the powerful role of US policy. Plus, you know, China is dealing with its own property debt crisis and suffering from deflation. China is calling its debts in and knows its financial future relies on the West as opposed to just singularly Russia. Then in some other news, Alexei Navalny, a leading figure in the Russian opposition, was buried in Moscow after thousands of mourners attended his funeral on Friday. An impressive crowd, estimated to be around 20,000 people, stretched over 3 kilometers to pay their respects. And during this event, tensions rose as demonstrators shouted slogans against the war and against President Putin, leading to arrests. Chants of Heroam Slava, which is glory to the heroes, and Putin is a murderer, echoed, marking a significant moment of public dissent. And with a heavy presence of security forces, or Putin enforcers, many attendees were in fact prevented from saying their final goodbyes, with crowds pleading to be let through. This moment has sparked questions about potential political instability in Russia, with the government's harsh response under scrutiny. Whether it will lead to significant change or if it will be suppressed remains uncertain, but the sentiment of resistance and the potential for covert opposition activities have been clearly demonstrated already within the country itself. Then in some other news, Albania's Prime Minister Edi Rama and Ukrainian President Zelensky recently signed a significant treaty on friendship and cooperation. This landmark agreement aims to enhance collaboration across a wide range of sectors, including trade, culture, education, healthcare, among others. And both nations have expressed a commitment to deepen their ties, with Albania standing firm alongside Ukraine in its battle against external aggression. And this type of news is worthy of a mention because whenever I hear about a friendship agreement between two nations these days, I think about that Russian-Ukrainian friendship treaty of 1997, which, by the way, was smack bang in the middle of many other Russian broken promises just like it. Never forget. Then moving across to a quick couple of funnies to round it all off for today, guys. So, one of Russia's top propagandists is doing her thing again. Margarita Simonyan. This time stating some bizarre history in an attempt to generate some enthusiasm, as she says, among the Russian population, with stating, quote, "Our country is at war. We need more enthusiasm. During the Leningrad siege, people were rationed with 125 grams of bread." Now, first of all, she called it a war. That's jail time right there. Slip of the tongue on her part, perhaps, for the editor-in-chief of RT News. But secondly, with what she said about during the Leningrad siege, people were rationed with 125 grams of bread. So this will not generate the motivation or quote-unquote enthusiasm she is looking for. Not by a long stretch. Then moving across to a final funny to round it off for today, guys. I know you'll appreciate this one because earlier today we saw a Russian Pantsir S-1 air defense system lay down to rest in southern Russia. Which is only made more funny by the fact that this air defense system was designed to be part of Vladimir Putin's security detail as it relates to an upcoming speech that he is meant to be doing in Sochi tomorrow. But now, Putin's security faces a dilemma, as these systems are now quite rare because of that, war he started right next door. And these things are top heavy. And whenever I see something like this, I say to myself, $20 million air defense system, 20-year-old conscript driver. That's our Russia. So that'll be it for today, guys. Thanks again for watching. Please continue to like and comment. I really do enjoy reading those comments. You guys are so kind. And yeah, just thanks again. And I do hope to see all of you guys there in the next one. Cheers.
Please be sure to go and show support to Josie. Check out his channel. And, actually, real fast. I should have done this right when we started his video. I've just been juggling several things all at once right now. Let me go ahead and put it in the description in the chat for you guys, so you can go show him some support. All right, there we go. And I saw that someone was trying to donate coffee, but it apparently wasn't working. So hold on one sec, because you know, the test I did before, you know, that was going through. But let me just test doing a $1 donation and see if it still if it's working from my end. If anyone was having an issue with donating, just let me know what the nature of the issue was. Like if it gave you a, you know, a specific error message or anything like that. Yeah, it just worked for me. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess I need more details about why it was giving you some trouble. But yeah, I was able to confirm just now that it does appear to be working. All right. Now then. All right, let's take a look at questions, because I just went through a whole bunch of other stuff. You know, yeah, there have been a couple of things that have got, you know, technical issues today that I'm going to have to continue to troubleshoot. I might do a few extra streams this upcoming week, just mini streams to see if some of these bugs pop up again, to help me figure out if there's an issue with them. Just talk about additional events as they're happening throughout the week. But yeah, hopefully it's just a one-time thing, that weird microphone issue that happened in the middle there a few minutes ago. All right, let's see here. No error message, just stopped and started a lot. It just goes to buying a membership. Well, so you know what? I'll go ahead and share my screen real fast. One sec. Let's get this sized in a way that works well. Well, okay, we're not going to make it perfect. That's good enough. Okay, so here's the page, and when you visit it, I'm not logged in or anything, but it should have an option to just immediately buy right here or to become a member. The members are I'm actually still working on the membership stuff, so don't feel like you need to do that or anything, because I haven't announced it, and I'll have a separate link for that later that I post for everybody. But yeah, primarily the memberships are what are going to be the focus once I have that all finished. That way it's just nice and simple, you know, like there's no memberships on Anton's side, because, you know, those are just donations that are immediately going toward the fundraiser. With mine, you can do regular coffees, like one-time purchases. But to keep it simple, I was just going to, you know, basically be like, set it up to where any memberships you get related to Tridents Against Tyrants or supporting the channel, And then any direct donations that are encouraged, those are going to be going to the various fundraisers that we do for the armed forces and humanitarian aid and whatnot, other projects in support of Ukraine. So, this is what it looks like. It should be working. Feel free to give it a try. But yeah, without more details, I wouldn't know why it wasn't wanting to work. All right, now then, let's go ahead and check questions right quick. Oh, yeah, the blue link isn't gone. I just moved it out of the way while we were doing the videos, so it wouldn't be sitting there, with my name on top of Jesse's video, because I felt like that would be kind of a jerk move. Let me move that back. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that works. Okay. Can't get it just right. We'll call that good. All right, so let's see here. Next, questions. Will I question the enforcer channel? Oh, this is a good question. From Martin. Thank you for asking. I mean, I would, honestly, I'd like to talk with Andrew about that, because I feel like there's a lot of discussion about that going on, but I kind of want to hear it directly from Andrew, his thoughts on that. But honestly, I mean, I haven't talked a whole lot about it publicly, but I definitely have my opinions on it and discussed it with other people privately. I know several people whose opinions have, over time. Oh, thank you for buying 25 coffee, Silver Earth, saying Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava. Thank you very much. Oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So regarding the enforcer channel, I mean, yeah, if there's going to be multiple creators who are going to be speaking out regarding this, a lot of what they've done, I do not find savory. I think that for a long while, there's been a combination of people concerned to talk about it because no one wants to create drama or division, so to speak, in the community. There was a time when a lot of people who support the enforcer were kind of seen as, having an overlap. There's an overlap among some people who still see him as supporting Ukraine. I personally do not really see that with his actions, with the things that he's been doing. I think that the enforcer, both of them, the brothers running that channel, take things very personally and are very passive-aggressive in how they interact with other people, including other creators who support Ukraine. But in any case, I think that there's a talk about multiple channels actually, speaking up a bit about it. So we'll be learning more. I actually spoke with the Shills yesterday. For anyone who maybe didn't catch that, go check out the Shills channel, because they have more than just the Ukraine show, which is what I usually appear on, and I will be appearing again on that today at, what would it be? It would be 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which would be like 8 o'clock Kiev time in Ukraine. So anyway, we talked about that just last night. And Dick Dawson over on the Shills has some opinions that if you go watch the most recent 42 show episode, you'll get a little bit more detail on this. Some very frank, some very blunt opinions. Anyway, thanks for a great question. I'll definitely be talking about it. I'm not afraid to talk about it. As for questioning him directly, I don't know. I don't really have any direct contact with the enforcer. Shoot, I don't know if he would want to come on and speak with a few different people about it, then maybe. But I don't really have an interest in doing a one-on-one with either of them. All right. Now then, next question from Alexis Keaty. Oh, and I'm forgetting. Hold on. I can do this. Select question, so it'll appear there in the chat for you guys as highlighted, I'm pretty sure. From Alexis Keaty, there are rumors that Ukraine has received some kind of super weapon and that it is how they are taking the planes down, especially over the Black Sea and in Russia. Do I know anything about this? I mean, in any war, there's always going to be certain rumors about super weapons and advancements in technology, and it's kind of been like that for a while now, especially in World War I and II, but even before that, like since the Industrial Revolution, there's always been that's why the term arms race exists. Who's winning the arms race in this generation, this era's various conflicts, military conflicts. I haven't heard anything credible. I don't have any details about any, supposed super weapon. There could be some kind of a weapon that's been developed that's assisting them with doing that. Shoot, I know they're training on F-16s. To the best of my knowledge, they don't have any in the air currently engaged in combat. So probably is something else. But yeah. Yeah, I guess to answer your question, no. I aside from what they've already been receiving, conventional arms from the West, I don't know anything about any super weapons they've received or domestically developed that would assist them with taking down lots and lots of more Russian MiGs and other aircraft, or Su-34s or any of those. So, yeah. If I do learn anything, I will be sure to let you guys know. But I imagine if they do have a super weapon that the Russians can't counter, that is very hush-hush, that I probably will not know about it anytime sooner than the rest of you. Because the few contacts I do have that might know a bit about that, I'd be concerned if they'd be willing to share that information with me. I might even chastise them a bit because I don't have the security clearance for them to tell me that sort of thing, But yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you. All right, and that's it for the questions we've gotten so far in the question section of the chat. All right. Let's take a look. I'm going to actually look at the chat now that everything else is kind of done for a sec. Also, I hope you guys like this background that I have set up. The blue and yellow starry sky with the wheat field. I really like it. I think it looks beautiful. I like all the symbolism in it. The ripple clouds that look like the Ukrainian flag, the blue and yellow wheat, the road toward the dawn, and all of the stars up above in the sky. I especially like the stars because they coincide well with the owl avatar that I use, given the motto, the Latin motto of Ukrainian intelligence agency that I told you all about earlier in the stream. So, yeah. Anyway, I really like it. All right. So, let's see here. Actually, one thing that I don't have up right now. Hold on. Pop out. I'm going to try to put something up right now for you guys to see. Let's see. Boom. Yeah, there we go. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Like, maybe... like... Well, maybe that's good. Takes up a lot of the screen, but we don't have anything else that's up right now. Yeah, we'll just leave it like that. There we go. About half of the screen. So yeah, there. Now you guys can see your comments on the screen. Oh, thank you very much. Maybe to get a lighter 20 coffees. Thank you very much, Nowhere Girl. Very much appreciated. Slava Ukraini. And I do like having a light. I like having a lighter on me just because it's great to have the power of fire in your pocket, quick and convenient for any reason. I don't smoke or anything, so don't have an immediate need for one all the time. But yeah, useful to have. Oh, and just so everyone knows, wait. I don't remember. Actually, hold on. Now I've got another thing I need to check real fast. On the Buy Me a Coffee link, let me check. Oh. Dang it. Come on, load. Okay, yeah. One important thing to note, everybody, which I don't think I've mentioned. Yeah, one thing which you can observe if you go to either one of them. And again, the yellow Buy Me a Coffee link, please hold off on using it for right now because we're still getting all of that sorted and figured out. But for the yellow one, because that's going to troops, that's going to assist the armed forces. The starting cost there for each coffee is kind of more of a realistic price. If you went to like a Starbucks or something, it's like $5 a coffee. So 3 would be 15, 5 would be 25. I might change the one I've got on the blue one to be some symbol other than a coffee. But in any case, on the yellow, it starts at $5 a coffee for support to soldiers. On the yellow, just to keep it straightforward, keep it simple, and because I expect you guys to give, when it's fixed, give more to the yellow than the blue. I have the blue one set to just $1 per coffee. Keep it nice and simple. So yeah. Just remember, whenever you see the yellow, multiply by 5, and that'll give you the total amount donated. When you see the blue, it's just multiply by 1. And so it's very simple. Just 20 coffees, $20. So thank you very much. All right, now then. Oh, and one other important thing. So when we do have Buy Me a Coffee fixed, Buy Me a Coffee, as I mentioned before, exists for PayPal and for anyone who can't donate with PayPal because they just don't have it or PayPal doesn't work for them, whatever the case might be, and can't donate with Monobank because you're outside of Ukraine, and sometimes Monobank just doesn't work very well for people outside of Ukraine with bank accounts from other countries, kind of hit or miss. That's the reason we have Buy Me a Coffee set up, so you can donate that way. With like a debit card, credit card, whatever you might want to use. But the fees on Buy Me a Coffee are higher than PayPal or Monobank. With Monobank, if it does work for you, that's fantastic because it goes straight to where it needs to go. Then PayPal, the fees are much lower. So if we could make it work, we would just have these notifications up on the screen go through PayPal. But the problem is that PayPal, for some ridiculous reason, is not allowing that for Ukrainian accounts, for accounts based in Ukraine. Like, you can give money to Anton, who is in Ukraine. His account is Ukrainian. But, for our streaming that we're doing, he's not allowed to have an individual donation page on PayPal. Not allowed to have the fancy pop-up alerts that PayPal otherwise lets people from other countries use. So PayPal is still the best way to do it. That's what I encourage people to use, but also wanted to have something that's, got the sound effect and, is available for those who can't use PayPal. So there's a little bit of a context for everybody. All right, now then. Oh, you were talking about I see your comment here, Nowhere Girl. The lighter that Rick is auctioning, not sure if it was done yet, just a joke. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I would definitely love to get that lighter, but only if it's at the right price, because I think that thing should sell for, it should sell for at least at least $500,000, in my opinion. I'm hoping when it is auctioned that it'll go for that much. All right. Now, going to check something real fast. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look real fast at our progress bar from Monobank for the fundraiser. All right, we're still at, wait, I think we're at the same amount we were at before, actually. Hold on, 21,371. Yep, 21,000. Yeah, it's still the same. But yeah. All right, we're already an hour and a half into this. I'm going to make a donation right now over PayPal. If anyone would like to... Oh, and other people might have donated over PayPal. That's another reason why I've got the Buy Me a Coffee, so we can get the notifications more easily. Because since PayPal won't allow us to have the notifications from Anton's account, I have to kind of just... Like, it's very... what time is it right now? I guess it's not super late, but... I have to make sure that Anton is actually here in the chat or watching with us anytime we do these streams. And he is a busy man. He does have other stuff he's doing to volunteer. Because otherwise, I have to wait until after the show to find out if anyone donated over PayPal. And of course, wait until Anton is able to move the money into the account. So that's sometimes why you don't see the PayPal donations reflected until I do my my weekend update post. You know what? I'm going to see if it'll work directly through Monobank. Because I always do it over PayPal. And if it doesn't, then I'm going... They donate like $100 each fundraiser. Oh, sorry. I'm following along with the conversation in the chat. Oh, I see. Yeah, we're talking about Bert and Ernie right now. And about the... You know, it's so interesting that you bring that up, Thorn. That they started doing more crowdfunding for Razom when they started getting criticism. Because Razom is an organization that does good work and specifically does... advocacy work for Ukraine in the West to get more support from the general public to Ukraine. So, yeah, I've talked to people outside of YouTube and Discord who don't know anything about the drama with the Enforcer channel. And there's still this, this view, this perspective that because they're giving to Razom, and some of the people I know from Washington, D.C., also work with Razom or really support Razom, therefore, there's this view that the Enforcer must be incredibly helpful in doing fantastic work and majority of the profits going to like Razom. It's not really the case. I will say this. I will say this and play devil's advocate that Razom does do good work. So seeing those donations, even though everything else that's happened I do not approve of, Razom specifically, the money that they've received is helpful. Well, that's about the only good thing that I will say regarding Bert and Ernie and things that they've done as of late. Oh yeah, the Red Cross. Yeah. Red Cross doesn't exactly have the best reputation at the moment. Actually, historically, going back a couple of years now, honestly, even before the war. The vid is 4x4. Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, earlier. That's right, yeah. I just didn't want to be fiddling with it for too long. Agreed that super weapon is the Ukrainian people, Dumitru. All right, now then. Oh. Ooh, this is a very good point, Miriam, asking, has anyone actually asked the organizations who Bert and Ernie allegedly support how much money they have actually received? Well, I don't know if they would disclose that. I mean, we could go back and we could, like, estimate by counting from the enforcers' streams whenever they've donated, like, specifically for something like Razom. But yeah. Yeah. To the best of my knowledge, no. No one has. All right, so it looks like we're good on Q&A for right now. I'm going to double check one more time. Oh, nope, I do see one more. Have I tried, from Dumitru Claudiu, have I tried other crowdfunding platforms like Indiegogo, Mighty Cause, or GoFundMe? Oh, let me select. I have not as of right now. I mean, I just have stuck with Buy Me a Coffee, which I am still finishing up the membership tiers and all of that for. I have to do research on all of them because I have to find out what other companies are associated with or own those platforms and what their attitude is toward things like the stuff that we're fundraising for to assist Ukrainian armed forces, or even just Ukraine in general. Because anyone who's familiar will know the current drama regarding Patreon and why I choose not to use Patreon because of how they have treated pro-Ukraine channels, quite a few pro-Ukraine channels from various places in and outside of Ukraine, Ukrainians, Estonians, Americans. Quite a few people have been deplatformed by Patreon, likely because of pressure from specific donors or perhaps even owners of Patreon. I don't have specific details, but something is going on there. And I'd have to find out which of those might actually be the most useful and least likely to shut down a fundraiser prematurely. But yeah, those could definitely be helpful. I've mulled it over. For the campaigns that we do, though, it all is done with Monobank, specifically because that's what many Ukrainians trust. Because it has nice integrations like you see on the screen right now, where we can have these progress bars that show, how, where we're at percentage-wise to closing out a particular fundraiser. And because it supports a Ukrainian company. Monobank is a Ukrainian company, Ukrainian bank. So using them, it's an additional way to support Ukraine. I might use something like that, Indiegogo or GoFundMe, in the future, but I'll just have to look into it later. Anyway, thanks for a great question. Oh, I guess the only other thing is I might consider Ko-Fi or even creating my own custom built, custom programmed donation website that I'd have more control over. Just because there's no issue I've heard of with Buy Me a Coffee right now, but it's always good to have a backup, because as we've seen with Patreon, there were several people who would get demonetized on YouTube, so Patreon was their fallback. And then when Patreon started knocking pro-Ukraine people off of their platform, well, the fallback is suddenly, the ground under your feet has given way. So at this point, you got to have a backup and a backup for the backup, and a truly emergency backup. It's ridiculous. You got to have layers upon layers. Anyway, so oh, right. Well, wow. I see everyone is still, yep, still talking about Bert and Ernie. Yeah, and I get it. Yep. Has not been a good situation with that channel. Allegedly. And I continue to say allegedly because if anyone's familiar with what they do when people verbally criticize or just offer their opinions, you have to be careful depending on where you live regarding those two. When it comes to legal actions they may or may not take against someone. Okay. Oh, thanks for joining us, Herb. All right, you have a great day. Okay, so we're at an hour and a half in. All right, let me take a look at something. I thought someone messaged me, but I guess not. All right, well, we're going to try this real fast. And since we got a few minutes left before we hit the 2-hour mark, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to see if I can get this set up, if we're going to have a guest joining us or not, if they're available, and if this setup is going to work as I hope and want it to. So let me get that all set up. While I'm doing so, yeah, feel free to keep chatting, and we'll keep the chat up here on the screen for y'all. All right, one sec. Oh, and I see a donation. We went up to 22,515. All right, thank you very much. Oh, that was the other thing I was doing. Man, I'm trying to do too many things at once. All right, we're gonna get that ready for a potential guest, and also I'm gonna see if I can make a donation real fast. All right, I'll be right back, everyone. Nope. Monobank didn't want to work for me, and most likely it's not because of Monobank. It's probably because of my bank. Because again, some foreign banks are just jerks about any transactions to Ukrainian companies. I should probably should put a list together of different banks that people have trouble making donations on Monobank to Ukraine for. We should put a list together, and we should actually like publicly call them out on this. Like, why is this an issue? Why does this keep happening again and again for people? But that's a conversation for another day. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and just do it over PayPal. One sec. Almost done. One sec, everybody. Okay, then that is sent. And I did get a confirmation from Anton that some of the money that was, excuse me, that was transferred over recently was from PayPal. And he did see and receive the Buy Me a Coffee donations. All right. Now then, okay. Hmm. Okay. Oop. Do you guys hear an echo? It's all good, Mark. Well, I'm glad to see there's so much conversation in the chat section, which that's exactly what we want to see. No echo? Okay, perfect. Then it's only in my own headphones that I can hear myself. Oh, it's going to drive me insane. Oh, I think we got a donation. Elaine Crossland, thank you for buying 5 coffees for the FPV drone fundraiser. Just a quick reminder to everybody, we still have it open, but try to use other donation methods aside from the yellow Buy Me a Coffee, the one that goes to Anton's Buy Me a Coffee, specifically because we're still fixing a technical issue to be able to transfer the funds from there. All right, we'll give it a few minutes and see if we have a guest available to join us. But they may be busy because I know they were very busy yesterday. So if not, we can do it another week. All right. Oh, there we go. Now I don't have the echo in my ears. So that works for right now. All right. Well, while we're waiting to see if we're going to have a guest join us, I'll go ahead and pull one more article up real fast. Oh. Ooh, actually, we just got another good question from Mark Sangamon. I'm highlighting it in the chat. What are the red and black Ukrainian flags all about? Thank you. So there's a lot of history that goes into that. The red and black flag has been used for many years, for decades, going back to the time of Ukrainian struggle for independence. It's been used since before and during World War II. Now, here's the thing. Some people who fly it would call themselves a patriot of Ukraine. Others would call themselves a nationalist. And by that, I mean they just consider themselves to be That's the word that they use to describe themselves, but they still consider themselves to be a patriot of Ukraine. It is a flag that was associated a lot with the UPA, the multiple factions of the UPA, actually, because there were more than one. And hold on one sec. That's going to stand for the Ukrainian Insurgent Army, Anti-Soviet Resistance Group of the Ukraine. Yeah, the UIA, well, otherwise known as UPA, which, come on, in Ukrainian would be Ukrainska Povstanska Armia, abbreviated UPA in Latin alphabet, which was a Ukrainian nationalist paramilitary and partisan formation founded by the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists back in October 14th, 1942. Now, the red and black flag is one that has a complex history. You'll find many people who very much love and fly it a lot, others who find it maybe slightly controversial. And that's because of the various different factions who used it. Some of them were they were all aligned in one thing, the biggest, most important focus, which was the liberation and sovereignty and independence of Ukraine from any outside power occupying the nation. I could sit here and I could go through my understanding of Ukrainian history a lot, but there's so much of it, and there's still a lot more of it that I need to read myself, actually, so I'm not going to do that. What I will say is that it is a flag that is strongly associated with Ukrainian national pride and the fight for independence. It has different meanings for different people, and that's about all that I'll say on it. Feel free to go do the rest of your homework on it if you'd like to learn more. A good place to start would be to research the differences between groups such as the, would it be Milnikites? There are two people I can think of from back in those days who the flag originally would be most associated with. One would be the name Stepan Bandera, that many of you have probably heard. Another one would be lesser known person who had his own faction, separate from Bandera's faction, known as Melnik. First name, hold on. Andriy Melnik. Go learn a little bit, and you'll find that it was a very complex time, and there was fighting not just against Soviets and Nazis, but also internally among the different factions of Ukrainian nationalists, members of organizations who flew the red and black flag. It's fascinating history. It can be rather gritty and dark, controversial history, but definitely worth learning more about. So I'd encourage you to go, especially read about Andriy Melnik. In fact, I'll go ahead and leave a link to just his Wikipedia page. Don't take Wikipedia as gospel, but just a good starting point if you want to get some cursory information about him. And anyway, so reason why red and black has had a resurgence is because of the invasion of Ukraine, and so you see many people of various different political leanings who fly it now. So it's hard to pinpoint a single ideology, but it does tend to be associated with a more conservative, right-leaning faction of Ukrainian society and politics, respectively. All right. And so, yep. Yeah, no problem. I'm also trying to think of the best way to word everything so as to not cause any offense to anybody. That's why I encourage everyone to go do their own reading and their own research to form their own opinions. But the one thing I will say is it is complex history. There are multiple perspectives of it, both good and bad. And there are certain names who just aren't even discussed very often, like Andriy Melnik, who I guess because they failed to amass super large amounts of power compared to some of their rivals in those times, that they're kind of overlooked or they aren't talked about much from Ukrainian history. But if you really dig deep, you'll find complex nuance, a lot of things you didn't know. All right, so it looks like our guest might not be able to make it today. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll go a little bit longer than usual, because if they do join us, it'll only be for like a few minutes. But it would also be very helpful because then I could confirm that the software for having guests on is working correctly. All right, so we'll go for a few minutes longer than usual. All right, and with that, oh, how far back does the flag go in time? Oh, wait, oh, is Anton here? Yes, it is a flag of historical. As Anton said, when blood is spilled on the blue and yellow flag, it becomes red, black. That is correct. That is also another big part of it. That's part of the history of it. You take which is also why I actually really love the design of the blue and yellow as well as the red and black, because it's almost like two sides of the same coin. It's like night and day. It's like day and night. It's like, well, yeah, just any kind of a binary dichotomy like that you can think of, linking two things together. It's society and its struggle. It's the nation as a whole and the individual. It's like the two both go hand in hand, and they are the same, and they are the same and at the same time different. So I really love the design and the symbolism that goes in, and the fact that, when blood gets onto a Ukrainian flag, it does become like that, red and black. I do respect the red and black flag. I want everyone to know that, because it has a complex history, but it is a flag that is flown by Ukrainian soldiers. It is an important flag of Ukrainian history. And as I said, many people fly it, of many different social and political opinions. The most important thing to really remember is that it is a flag of national struggle for Ukraine. So just like the blue and yellow, it is a flag deserving of respect. And it's a flag that it's usually associated with particular groups of people throughout Ukrainian history. But again, go do your own reading to learn more about it. All right, let's see here. Okay, so we're going to pull up another article right now. Ooh, here's a good one. Might be something important to close out the day with. There's a lot happening right now, guys. There's tensions between countries who typically would be considered allies. There's espionage going on across a lot of different countries. Political infiltrations. Concerns about elections coming up this year and within the next 3 or 4 years. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of chess pieces moving. Anyway. All right. And did I put it in the description? All right, so I just put the article in the chat. Yes, and also in the description. So let's turn this on. All right, and let's turn off. Actually, I mean, it should be fine. I'll leave the. Oh, and we got some more donations in. So we're up to 23,468.45 hryvnia. So part of that would probably be the donation that I sent. Anton went ahead and transferred that over. Thank you very much, Anton. And yeah, so thank you very much to everyone who has donated today. All right, so Germany confirms bugging of Bundeswehr Ukraine war talks. Germany's defense ministry on Saturday confirmed the authenticity of a recording of a confidential discussion between high-ranking Bundeswehr officers regarding the war in Ukraine that was leaked by Russian state media. So, yeah, that between the large arrests of conspirators who are plotting to attempt terrorist activity to overthrow the German government like a year and a half or so ago, a year and a half ago, and then news about something like this. And then, of course, the rise of certain groups that have become very contentious and very divisive in Deutschland, in Germany, such as Alternative für Deutschland, AfD. There are some legitimate concerns about, about infiltration into far-right groups and other entities in Germany that could be a national security threat. So, yeah, definitely good to keep an eye on this sort of thing. According to our assessment, a conversation in the Air Force Division was intercepted. We are currently unable to say for certain whether changes were made to the recording or transcribed version that is circulating on social media, a spokeswoman for the ministry said. The head of Russian state broadcaster RT, Margarita Simonyan, on Friday published what she said was an audio recording between German officers, including the chief of the Air Force, Lieutenant General Ingo Gerhardt. There's an image, but it doesn't appear to be loading, of Lieutenant General Ingo Gerhardt. The chief of the German Air Force is apparently heard on the purported recording. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz described it as a very serious matter. It will now be investigated very carefully, very intensively, and very quickly, Scholz said on Saturday during a visit to Rome. Oh, hold on. I have to check one thing before we continue with the article. In fact, I need to message about something. Hold on 1 second. Need to make sure that I just need to have like more than one of me to handle all the different stuff that I have scheduled one after another. All right, continuing on with our article. What else was on the audio? As aired by Simonian on Telegram, the audio includes a discussion about whether Taurus cruise missiles would be capable of destroying a bridge, seemingly a reference to the new bridge linking Russian-occupied Crimea to the Russian mainland over the Kerch Strait. The recording was apparently made from a video conference between 4 Luftwaffe officers discussing Russia's war in Ukraine. On the audio leak, they spoke about ways German officers could supply Ukrainians with targeting information without appearing to be directly involved in the conflict with Russia. What is on the supposed recording of German officers? The clip also contains reference to the British having a few people on the ground in connection with the deployment of their Storm Shadow cruise missiles delivered to Ukraine. German outlet Der Spiegel reported that the virtual meeting did not take place via a secure line, but via the WebEx. Via WebEx platform. Okay, that makes sense though. Because WebEx, very similar to Zoom, is a civilian piece of software. And for communications of that importance, various government officials and military officers should be knowing that they shouldn't be using Zoom or WebEx or anything like that. They should be using their own proprietary custom-made encrypted software. All right, now then. Not saying that WebEx is bad, actually. I should compare the encryption for it to something like Zoom, but it is an American-made piece of software compared to Zoom, which is a Chinese-made piece of software. So there might have been a reason to avoid using Zoom, but unfortunately, regardless, you can't be using civilian video conference software for things of such importance. German lawmakers alarmed. If this story turns out to be true, it would be a highly problematic incident, Konstantin von Notz, the chairman of the Bundestag's Parliamentary Oversight Committee, told broadcast network Redaktionsnetzwerk Deutschland. I don't speak German fluently, guys. I hope that was close enough. The Green Party politician said it should be determined whether this is a one-off incident or a structural safety problem. Roderick Kieswetter of the center-right Christian Democratic Union and deputy chairman of the Bundestag's Parliamentary Oversight Committee said it seemed that Russia had leaked the conversation to put pressure on Germany not to supply Taurus missiles to Ukraine. A number of other conversations will certainly have been intercepted and may be leaked at a later date for Russia's benefit, he told broadcaster ZDF or ZDF. Scholz has so far refused to send the Taurus missiles to Ukraine. Earlier this week, he said the missiles' range and the likely need for assistance from German Bundeswehr troops was problematic and could be construed as direct or indirect participation in the war. This might be part of the consternation between France and Germany right now, because I know there's a bit of tension between the two. And obviously France is doing the exact opposite. They are signaling that they will, Macron at least is signaling, yeah, no, we might put some boots on the ground in Ukraine. I don't know if he's actually serious about it. It's very possible that all of this right now is just a political pissing contest. Germany, France, they both try to be the quote-unquote leader of the EU on the continent, especially since the UK exited that, being part of the Union altogether. So now those two nations, whenever you see actions between the two of them, just kind of ask yourself if they're vying for PR or something that makes them look like a better leader than the other country. And both do it in different ways. But yeah, either way, Germany has sent a fair amount of support to Ukraine in the past. But of course, this war is not over. Everyone needs to be doing more, not just talking more. So from both Germany and France, talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. And to the US as well. Pretty much to every Western government right now, actions speak louder than words. Just act, people. Do something to help. Russian Foreign Ministry spokesman Maria Zakharova demanded that Germany promptly provide an explanation and claimed the audio was evidence of a hybrid war the West was waging on Russia. Russia always claims this, as they wage their own hybrid wars on everyone else. Whataboutism, and basically saying, we're no worse than all the rest of you, even though we're the only ones directly invading and pillaging and committing other war crimes against neighbors regularly over decades. Yeah, but you guys are just as bad as us. Yeah, no, absolutely not. That's the thing. There's such paranoia in Russia that there is a belief among some that if they don't expand and if they're not doing what they're doing, that eventually the same thing will happen to them, that their neighbors would, in a blink, in a heartbeat, do the exact same atrocities to the Russian people that the Russians do to a lot of their neighbors. You just get sick and tired of hearing such projection, such psychological projection from the Russian side. It's a bit asinine. Oh, that's right. I see. That's right. You mentioned. I see your comment here, Mark. The idea this morning was to put NATO troops on the Ukrainian-Belarusian border. I hadn't seen an article about that yet, but I do recall someone. It might have been you who mentioned that. And I do know that there's also been internally inside of Belarus quite a bit of concern about what's going to happen long term with regards to Lukashenko. The opposition in exile right now in Belarus under what's her name? Hold on. Tsikhanouskaya. There we go. Tsikhanouskaya. Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya is kind of pushing to win more hearts and minds, get more people involved in the work that they do there inside of Belarus itself, not just in the diaspora. So yeah, if they get more foreign support, then we may see some more actions to assist them in weakening the position of Putin's ally internally, which would be good for the Belarusian people definitely in the long term. All right, so with that, all right, we'll go ahead and call. Oh, there we go. Yeah. We'll go ahead and call things good for right now with this stream because I do believe that my guest is unfortunately not available. But we'll try this again next time and make sure that everything works just as it's supposed to. So thank you for joining us today, everybody. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Are there any more? We'll go for another 5 minutes or so. Let me see if we've got some more questions. I see a question here from Anna. Hold on. It says, without approval. And I'm getting a few other messages. Hold on. Ooh, okay. You know what? This was shared with me just a few minutes ago. And this is going to be the perfect way to close out the stream on a positive note. So we're going to go over one more article. Hold on one sec, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and close out the control room for stream guests. So many people trying to get a hold of me. Let's see. Oh, hold on. I got a message about. Ooh, hold on a sec. Nightbot is set up as a moderator, but it's also a bot. So, ooh, I don't know about. Hold on, Mr. Squiggle. Was there a message from from Nightbot in YouTube? Like, did it time anybody out? Oh, message deleted by Nightbot. Ooh, okay, that's something I'm gonna have to look into. Sorry, everybody. And that might be one thing that people find annoying about Nightbot. It might be because it's set up to moderate, so it might be automatically doing some of that. Let me take a look at that right now, because I was hoping that it wouldn't have any auto moderation stuff that would potentially get in the way. If anybody had their messages deleted, my apologies. But you know, first time using the bot on a stream, so we'll get all the kinks worked out. It's also not the only bot that I'm exploring, so maybe we stick with Nightbot, maybe we go with another one. But let me take a look at this really fast, and then we'll close out with this last article. Okay, yeah, and I'm seeing more. Oh, even Silver Earth got timed out? Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that, everyone. Well, I was looking at a bunch of other stuff, so I didn't notice that was happening in the chat. Okay, let me take a look. Oh, no. The Nightbot is automatic. There shouldn't be any person with access to Nightbot that would be doing this, to the best of my knowledge, unless there's like an employee for the Nightbot team, but that seems very unlikely. It's probably just the bot itself recognizing certain things and thinking that there's spam activity or something in the chat incorrectly. So 1 sec. All right, let's take a look. Oh, okay. So I'm reading up on this a little bit, and this might be something I need to keep take into account regarding bots. Okay. So it might be a YouTube policy thing regarding bots and what they require bots to do. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Aha, here we go. I found the filters. Okay, we're going to disable this. We're going to disable excess emotes. We're going to disable excess caps. What's this one? Custom words. Oh, this one shouldn't matter. And we'll go ahead and disable that. Okay, so now it should be good because I went ahead and just temporarily disabled the majority of the spam filters. The only thing that I've left on, I think, is links. Oh, wait a sec, but that could also affect other moderators. And we do. Oh, I don't think it's been shutting down links either, though. Oh, that's because I don't have any listed. That's weird, though. Somebody do me a favor right quick, so we can test this before we close out the stream. Someone who is not... Yep. Okay, there we go. So, warning sign. Now it's working. Ha. Yeah. Emojis are working. Oh, emojis. So Nightbot, okay, perfect. So Nightbot shouldn't be deleting stuff anymore for emojis or for excessive caps lock and stuff like that. Somebody do me a favor who isn't a moderator, because I did notice that Anna and Enhill were both posting links earlier, and I don't think that Nightbot was deleting them. Let me double check. Oh shoot, I can only go back so far. Somebody who's not a moderator, please try to post, I don't know, a link of any sort and let me, yeah, like a hyperlink, like a link to, somebody try to post a link to the YouTube channel for Tridents Against Tyrants or another pro-Ukraine channel, and let's see if Nightbot deletes it or not. Because I don't want to risk hyperlinks from trolls that could actually, like, you know, lead people to get viruses or to scam sites or anything like that. But also, I want to make sure that when we need to, we can put links into the chat and not just have the bot do it for us. Awesome. Thank you. Oh. Okay, so I see now Nightbot did do a warning, and it's got an edgy personality warning. Okay, so, oh, yep, and it did delete it. Okay. All right, thank you for testing that. Thank you very much, Dumitru. And I'm going to go ahead and disable that for now. The links are the one thing that might be useful, but we don't have a lot of people who post links in the first place other than mods. So, yeah, I'll turn it off for right now. I might turn links back on later in future streams, guys. Just, I don't know, just for safety. But for now, we'll turn it off. All right, so now it should be good. Somebody try posting one more link, please. And this time it should go through. Well, unless YouTube itself, outside of Nightbot, has an issue with it or something. No, links are allowed. Okay, perfect. So Nhill, that worked. So for a moderator, there's no issue. Someone who's not a moderator, one more time, please post a link. Links are allowed. In the future, if we end up if the channel grows and we end up with like a bunch of people and the risk of like spam links or virus links, you know, appearing, then I may consider turning that filter back on. But for right now, I'm leaving it turned off. They show up as plain text. Okay, so they aren't clickable. That makes sense because, yeah, YouTube probably has changed that. So then people have to actually copy paste them. But not the ones that are posted by moderators. Like those ones do seem to be working. In any case, I just don't want people to get timed out or something and then get frustrated. So, should be good now. If anyone sees any more messages from Nightbot, like warning them of stuff, then just ping me and let me know. All right, now we're going to move on to the last article real fast. And then we're going to close out. They show up as plain text. That's weird. I'm not even seeing them show up at all. Oh, also I should turn this highlighted question off. All right. In any case, let's move on because no one should be at risk of like being timed out by Nightbot or anything like that for right now. All right. Last piece of news that we're going to cover. Everybody's favorite British/South African/Ukrainian volunteer medic. It's a holy war. British from Euromaidan Press. Should have put the link in first. Hold on, I'm putting the link in the chat now, everybody, so you guys can read along on the website if you like. And in the description. All right. Here we go. It's a holy war. British medic sees Ukraine's battle against pure evil. And are there going to be no images? Hold on. Let me see if a picture shows. That is very weird. For some reason, they included a picture in the embedded link preview, but I don't actually see one in the article. I guess it's just from this video. I guess we'll be reading an article and watching a video. All right. In any case, last week, an emotional video with a combat medic. Last week, an emotional video with a combat medic saying he's ashamed to be a Westerner and calling on Western governments to give Ukraine what it needs to win lest it is exterminated made rounds on social media. We found the man in the video. Despite early claims, Peter Fauch, Pete, for anyone viewing who knows Pete, of Project Constantine, originally from South Africa, is not with the International Legion, a unit for foreigners who want to join the Ukrainian army, but with the armed forces of Ukraine. He became a combat medic despite an initial aversion to blood, runs the charity Project Constantine, part of our Verified Ways to Help the Army list, which conducts casualty evacuations and procures ambulances for frontline medics, and says that if Western nations don't give Ukraine the weapons it needs yesterday, they better keep them for themselves. Here's a shortened text version of our interview. Watch the full version here. Oh, well, we could just read along with it, but maybe, hold on. Oh man, how long is the video? Let's find out. Hold on, I'm just going to check the length of it. It's a 25-minute video. We will watch part of it, and we will read the rest of it for sake of time constraints. Shoot. So hold on. That means I need to make a change. Hold on. All right. And this was posted just 23 hours ago. And I've got to pull it over to the browser because I didn't expect it to be both an article and a video.
Absolutely ashamed to be a Westerner today.
Hold on. Come on. Full screen. And there we go. Okay. And I'm gonna move the buy me a coffee stuff again, just again out of respect to not have like my donation stuff on top of other people's content, especially emotional content. All right, now let's take a listen right quick, and then we'll read a little bit more of the article and finish up the stream.
What in God's name do you absolutely ashamed to be a Westerner today. What in God's name do you think you people are doing, drip feeding and delaying this desperately needed ammunition for Ukraine? I'm talking to all Western governments today. I'm a medic in Ukraine, and we are shitting ourselves over here. The fucking front line is crumbling left, right, and centre. How dare you dilly and dally like this? Imagine these were your children being butchered out here. Put yourself in Ukrainian shoes for once. Get your act together, man. Your policies and your bullshit. Fucking support this country. We are being terminated, exterminated. I'm ashamed to be a Westerner.
I ask you why you joined the Ukrainian army. What compelled you to join?
What compelled me? I'm a father and an ex-policeman, and when at the beginning of the full-scale invasion, I was in my apartment in London. My mother had come from South Africa to spend 6 months with me, and she was here for 2 months, and I saw on TV children being murdered. On TV, I saw the news of children being murdered. As a father, my protective instincts kicked in. I shouted upstairs to my mother, "Mom, I'm going to Ukraine." And that was my driving reason to come to Ukraine, was to come protect the children of Ukraine so that not more parents have to go through that pain of losing a child, because I saw some horrible stories. And that's why that's my driving reason for being here.
Wow. How old are you? Are your kids?
I'm 49 and my daughter is 15 years old.
Okay. Do you have any personal connection to Ukraine?
No, not at all. Although that I have developed a saying, "Vachora ya buv britansem, sahodnia ya Ukrainets." I love your country and I love your culture and I love your soul connection. Everybody's got this beautiful soul, soulful, beautiful, pure, clean-hearted. There's an incredible, peaceful, soulful connection amongst Ukrainians. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. It's difficult to describe to Westerners, but it's in the way you cook, it's in the way you speak, it's in the way you sing. And Ukraine is just a delightfully wonderful nation. And I think I've been connected to you guys, to Ukraine, since long before I was born. So I think there's something there, but I can't put it into words.
That's amazing. So no connection prior to,
no, ma'am.
You just saw
Nothing.
what was happening and were compelled to join. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Standing. Yeah, that's literally it.
May I ask you where you're serving, if that's safe to tell?
Yes, I have to be vague about it. I'm in east outside Bakhmut somewhere. Yeah, is the safest answer I can give you there, if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're not with the International Legion. It's with some other.
No, I'm with ZSU.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you tell us what your daily job is and how long you've been doing it?
Absolutely. My daily job is a medic. I'm a medic instructor, and I'm a combat medic. My biggest part of my job is being a medic, rescuing wounded soldiers from zero and evacuating them to safety. We call it CASEVAC, casualty evacuation. And also arranging supplies of medicine and delivering medical supplies and helping to help. I'm not just I've only been in ZSU officially for a few months, a few short months, 3 months. But all my time in Ukraine, I've been a volunteer. I've been a volunteer medic through.
All right, so we're almost 5 minutes in. So it's a 25-minute full interview. We'll finish out a little bit more of this and then take a look at the article. And then we're going to close out the stream. If you want to watch the whole thing, everybody, I've put a link in the chat as well as in the description of this video. So please go to the Euromaidan channel, subscribe to them, drop a like, and watch the entire video. Watch the video in its entirety. the full 25 minutes. All right. And with that, let's watch a little bit more.
I run a charity with my co-director Halina. It's called Project Constantine. This is my patch, and I'll hold it up to your camera. You probably heard of us. And it's a frontline medevac service.
Hold on. I'm asking someone to risk being kicked off. Oh, you might be listening from earlier when I was asking people to test out Nightbot. Yeah, I know. Sorry. I just needed to make sure I knew what was going on there. And thank you everyone who's having to drop off. Thank you very much for coming, being part of the stream. Really appreciate all of you. But yeah, anyway, Nightbot stuff should be good. Shouldn't be any more issue with people getting knocked off. And yeah, Pete is a great guy. Very passionate guy. Supporter of Ukraine.
Volunteer organization. We're a registered charity in Ukraine. And for a year and a half before I joined the army, we were evacuating soldiers out of Bakhmut and Kremlin-Lis. And so I got a lot of medical experience there. And then the army invited me to join to do the same job here. So Project Constantine still continues to provide vehicles. We try to get drones, but they're so expensive. It's vehicles, Starlinks, generators, Blanchetta, Google tablets, and that kind of thing, and medical supplies, of course. So daytime medic, nighttime raising supplies for ZSU.
Right. Did you have any medical experience before coming to Ukraine?
No, none whatsoever. I was scared of blood. I was the most squeamish person you could ever imagine. I was a cab driver in London for 10 years. One day, my brother died in 2009 in a tragic motorcycle accident in South Africa. I thought, I want to be a medic. I want to save people who are destitute or people who are in desperate need. And I went to spend a day with London Ambulance, and I lasted an hour. That's my first sign of blood. I ran home. And then Ukraine happened. I joined territorial defense at the beginning of the war, beginning of the full-scale invasion, and there were 2 sessions of 5 or 2 hours each, totaling about 5 hours of TCCC combat lifesaver training in the foyer of the hotel in Khreshchatyk in Kiev. And it wasn't very long after that they handed me the keys to an ambulance and a rifle, and they said, "Severodonetsk, off you go," and the rest is history.
Wow. Yeah. And so Pete, I've got a lot of respect for Pete. I just realized also, okay, first let's go back to the article real quick. Please be sure to go to that link and subscribe to Euromaidan and check out the rest of Pete's interview. Let's take a look at the article one more time real fast. Here we go. All right. And then we're going to finish with one more thing and close out the stream. So I think the majority of this is just basically a transcript of the video interview we were watching. So we will come down here to see a bit of the closing portion. Here we go. And this is a picture I'm sure many of you have seen. We are not asking too much. We just need an artillery shells and aviation. The rest we do ourselves. Signed, the Armed Forces of Ukraine. So this is very true. There's a mural painted on a wall somewhere. Just give us artillery and a few airplanes. The rest we'll do ourselves. We're not asking for too much. We only need artillery shells and aircraft. We'll do the rest ourselves. Armed Forces of Ukraine. This is the message of Ukrainian soldier call sign Skidny, who until 2021 was a partisan in the Russian-occupied town of Kadivka and now defends Ukraine. a partisan who was trapped behind Russian lines, who now is fighting for Ukraine, and of course, just like everyone, wanting to liberate the rest of the country. And Ukraine needs its allies to do that. The strongest and most powerful army in the world is around Ukraine. And Ukraine is walking around with its finger in the air going, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. And we can and have been successful in Kiev. I believe this is the transcript of Pete's, what he said in the interview, everybody. Kiev, we kicked their asses. Kherson, we kicked their asses. This was probably supposed to be a different region, like Kharkiv. We kicked their asses. I just keep noticing typos in all of the articles I read today. Although I can't criticize. I've made typos in the past. I'm sure we all have. We are supremely better fighters. We are defending our homeland, our families, our children. No force on earth can touch us if we have the weapons to defend ourselves. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. The fight inside of each Ukrainian is massive. We are fighting with matchsticks against a giant, and we keep showing them who's boss. So, yeah, a lot of spirit, a lot of passion in Pete's words. And what we're gonna do to close out today is, hold on. Here, this is how we'll do it. Size it correctly. Okay, there we go. Thanks for bearing with me for a moment there. Project Konstantin on YouTube. Everybody, please go check them out. They only have 347 subscribers. Guys, they have less subscribers than I do. Okay? They deserve a lot more subscribers. They do fantastic work. They are organized. They are on the front lines. They are working very hard. So I am calling every single person here and anyone who watches among the little less than 600 or so subscribers I have right now, go subscribe to Project Konstantin. Share. Make sure that everyone knows to subscribe to them, because I know I say this a lot for smaller channels that are pro-Ukraine, that they deserve more subscribers, but Pete and the rest of the Project Konstantin team, they really do deserve a lot more subscribers. So absolutely. And despite the fact that many people have seen and are aware of the original video that he put out, Pete's message to Western leaders, pretty sure it's spread on other social media like Twitter or just other, or Telegram or other channels. Look, less than 1,000 views on the exact message that Pete put out to Western leaders on YouTube. Let's fix this, guys. Let's get their YouTube channel to where it needs to be. I'm going to put a link in the chat and the description right now, and then we're going to end the stream. up on Instagram. Oh, thank you very much, Nikki, for putting that in the chat. The social media links. Oh, and the YouTube link. Yes, actually, I was about to do it, but my mods beat me to the punch. Thank you very much, Nikki. And hold on. I see Anna was saying there was something else that I might have missed a message on. Post the pic of Pete in Discord. Oh, sure. Wait, well, I don't really have a picture. I just have the video. The video's in the description of the, it should be in the description of the video right now. I'm not sure which pic you might be referring to. If you just mean the one when he was from the video, I could take a screenshot of it. But the video is probably what you're looking for. All right. Yeah, it is hard to watch because we can all feel it, and there is a collective feeling of shame, I think, among many allies of Ukraine who see their governments not doing enough, and it does hurt. It hurts, guys. All right, now then. Okay, you got the pic, or you got the video, whichever one it was. Okay, glad to hear that. Awesome. Okay, well then, with that, move this back. All right. With that, we're going to go ahead and close out the stream, everybody. As long as there are no other questions, let me see. Oh. We do have one more question. What about the CIA bases? Oh, CIA bases in Ukraine? This was a question from Silver Earth. You mean the ones I might have brought up in another stream previously? Like the ones related to training of certain parts of the Ukrainian military and coordination with Hurmo and such? Or are you talking about a more recent article about CIA bases I'm unaware of? I don't know. Well, let's take a look real fast, and then we'll finish. Because, yeah, we're going longer than usual today. Oh, here we go. From the Telegraph. And a few other outlets. CIA builds 12 secret spy bases in Ukraine along Russian border. U.S. agency is trained and equipped Kiev's intelligence. Yeah, this had been discussed in an article before. I think it was on the Shills, but we ran out of time, so I wasn't able to read the whole thing. Well, we're already running low on time, so here's what I'm gonna do, because I don't think we got time to cover it right now. I'll just put it in the chat, and anyone who wants to read up on it, feel free to do so. The one that I originally had, well, and here's the thing. The New York Times has kind of gone, when it comes to Ukraine content, has angered a few people with some of what it's covered here recently. And then the other one I see here talking about it is the Telegraph, which, for anyone unaware, it's a newspaper, media outlet from the United Kingdom that tends to be kind of center-right to right-leaning. So, and then TRT World from Turkey. I see a lot of mention of this almost primarily in right-leaning media sources. Hawaii Tribune Herald, I actually don't know about that one, if it's left or right-leaning. Just because it's from Hawaii, can't really tell one way or the other. I'm not familiar with them. Kiev Post. Well, you know what? We'll go with Kiev Post, specifically because Yulia works for, she announced it, I'm pretty sure, has some contacts with Kiev Post. So, yeah, I'm aware of the news rivalry between Kiev Post and Kiev Independent. But, they have competing articles on the same topic. Yeah, you know what? I'll put both of them. I'll put Kiev Post and Kiev Independent, so you guys can have two different news sources that are linked to Ukraine on the topic. All right, I'm going to put those in the chat right now. One sec. And then we're going to close out the stream. Yeah, I would agree with that, William. That it's probably safe to assume the CIA has plants everywhere in the world where it is possible. That's true for every country, honestly. When it comes to, here's the thing: if there is an espionage service for an internationally significant government, mostly medium to large size GDP countries, but also, I mean, plenty, even from nations that might be considered, developing countries. Not every country is going to have operatives all around the world. That's, that some countries can't afford it. Some countries don't have a reason to do that. But places like the US or Russia or China or various countries in the EU and NATO or Japan or probably also Australia and New Zealand. Like these are examples of countries that are going to have different operatives around the world in different capacities. In this case, it would be probably those with a military espionage background, military intelligence-based background, especially if they're on the border of Ukraine and Russia. So I suppose that's why it's a bit more newsworthy, because it's more exciting news for some people. The fact that the information has even gotten out and disseminated, it's an interesting occurrence. So go read up, and apologize for running low on time, everybody. I will see you all again soon. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to share this video, stream. Be sure to tune in again next week. We'll continue to do this same time, same day. And Slava Ukraini. Oh, and let me turn this back on so we can see where we're at one last time. And that's where we stand with our fundraiser. We will continue to do so. Oh, no, I forgot one very important thing. Damn. One other person who really could use some donations, not just the 110th Mechanized Brigade, our official fundraiser. If you have the funds to do so, if you know anyone who is able and willing to assist, please. There is another creator here on YouTube who also assists with the Ukrainian Armed Forces. He is serving. Many of you probably know him. And I know that his unit could use a bit of assistance with fundraising some equipment. So, man, I just keep remembering stuff that I need to mention before I close this out. Big Mac's battle blog. So, Joe, volunteer drone operator, volunteer assisting in Ukraine. Let me turn the progress bar off one more time. He and his unit could use a bit more equipment. I believe that it was, let me double check. And yes, so what they're trying to get 6,000 USD in order to assist with acquiring one M3T or roughly 17 FPV drones. So either one would be useful to his unit. Cost for either one would be about $6,000. So if you want to assist with that, first of all, again, please go check out his channel. He is serving, so he posts when he can, but of course, can be a bit difficult when, got other aspects, other things that need to be done. And going to put it in the chat description right now. I keep saying I'm about to go, and then I remember more stuff. Thank you for the 15 people who are still here. All right, so there's his channel, and I'm about to drop information on how you can donate if you would like to assist Joe and his unit. Oh, the link to the video interview of Pete, it should be in the description, and it should also be, well, I mean, it's probably way up there, but it was here in chat as well. Also, I'm going to close Q&A before I get more questions. Close Q&A. And let me get you guys that link. All right, so there's his PayPal. If you search that email on PayPal, then you should be able to make a donation to assist. And I will be doing so myself in a little bit later today to help out a bit. All right, everybody. So thank you for joining us today. It was a lot longer of a stream than usual for my Saturday stream, but that's all right because we go for a long time sometimes. And thank you immensely for standing with Ukraine, for sticking with me through the technical issues. We're going to make sure to have it all sorted out for next week. And no matter what, we will continue doing this every week and support the defenders of Ukraine. Thank you, everybody. Slava Ukraini. And be sure to join us on the shills here in about 45 minutes. We're going to be having an interview with, you know what? I'll just pull it up real fast. Ooh, and it came up first thing. Yeah, with Pete. So if you want to see an interview with Pete and Starsky, if Starsky is available, because I know his schedule is very busy, then come join us in just a few minutes over at the Shills. All right. Now have a great day, everybody. And victory to Ukraine.